Hiya, welcome back. I apologise for this. I have been struck down in the prime of life and I've had a horrible cold for the last few days. I am now at that stage where I am refusing to be ill any longer. So I thought I'm gonna make some lunch, shower, get dressed, sort this out generally, and then crack on with my TBRs. As much as I would love to, I cannot do a 24-hour reading vlog. So because I don't really want to commit to a certain amount of hours reading, what I'm going to do is time up instead of down. So I'm going to set a stopwatch on my tablet rather than a countdown clock and just see how long it takes me to get through things. So the essentials that I have to read, well, the first essential is my Lemsip. It's keeping me going right now. First book that I want to read is God of Wrath and Lies by K.M. Moronova. So this is my travelling book club book. So Jazz has already had it. So she has read it, tabbed it, annotated it. And I'm going to go through and do the same with my thoughts, feelings, emotions, whatnot. I then have my book club's book of the month, which is The Veiled Kingdom by Holly Renee. And our book club call is Saturday or Sunday. So I need to have it read by then. I then have two books left on my TBR, one of which is A Rather Vengeful Accord by Danielle Knight. I started this yesterday and I'm struggling. I'm not loving it. I don't think the writing style is for me. But what I am going to do in a minute is make some lunch. As I'm getting ready, I'm going to put the audiobook on and see if that helps me get a little bit more absorbed into it. I don't want to DNF. I really hate DNFing unless I have something like vehemently against the book. And I don't have anything against this. It's just not for me, I don't think. But I may put it on ice, do a soft DNF. But like I said, if I listen to the audiobook, I can maybe get a little bit further through, see if things start to click and I start to vibe with it a bit more, or at least I've made a bit more of an informed decision. And then the last book on my TBR for this month was The Names by Florence Knapp. I haven't got this yet. I do need to buy it. The reason I haven't bought it is because in my book club we do a win your wish list every 2 weeks. It is getting drawn again tomorrow and there's a chance I may win. And if I win, someone may buy it me. So I'm reluctant to buy a new book until I absolutely have to. So if I don't win my wish list tomorrow, I will buy it tomorrow. So it's probably not going to be in this reading vlog. So if I manage to read those three, so Vengeful Accord / soft DNF / put it on ice, A God of Wrath and Lies, and Veiled Kingdom, I'm then going to treat myself and I'm going to go back to Shadowhunters because I've read book one this month and I loved it. And they're just nostalgic reads and they're quite easy reads. So it would be books 2 and 3 of The Mortal Instruments, City of Ashes, and City of Glass, which would take me to the end of the first section before I have to dive out of The Mortal Instruments, pick up something else, and then come back into it. So that's where I'm at. I have found an audiobook of By the Vengeful Accord on BookBeat, I think. Yes, it was BookBeat because Spotify, I've had to pay extra. And I didn't have any minutes left. So I've gone for BookBeat. I'm aware I need to condense my subscriptions, but I'm just trying to figure out what I want. And in the words of Will Gregson, we want what we want. And at the minute, I just want a lot of audiobook apps. But I'm going to put the audiobook on, start on with my lunch, sort this out, and then we'll reconvene. Peace.
Chapter 6: An Achievable Plan. The problem I face now is that there's nowhere.
So I'm showered, I've eaten, I feel somewhat human, and I got an hour of the book done on audio. So I obviously went through it in my TBR video, but A Rather Vengeful Accord by Danielle Knight was November's Illuma Crate pick, I think. And it's a dark academia fantasy set in a world where there are two paths. There are gravers and spirers. So we've got Hal, who wants to be a graver. They raise the dead. They're essentially necromancers. And we've got Alistair, who has been trained since birth, pretty much, because he's from quite an elite family, to be a spirer, who, from what I can gather, fight with swords. They're just given a fancy name. There is a war going on that has been mentioned a couple of times, but we don't really know too much about it as yet. Within this story, Alistair and Hal both get accepted into this elite boarding school called Pendergast to study spiring. Hal is fuming. Hal didn't want that. She wanted to go to Pendergast, but she wanted to go as a graver. However, she's not being allowed to do it. The only way, however, for both of them to get into this boarding school is for them to sign an accord and go in agreement with each other and essentially help each other. Either they both get in and they both progress up the ranks of being a spirer, or neither of them are going to succeed. In the last hour, I've managed to get to about 26% of the book. I'm going to continue with it, but I'm not going to continue with it in this video. I'm going to continue with the audio, so I'm going to carry on sort of on school runs and whilst I'm working next week. It's not for me. The writing isn't connecting with me. It's sort of a whimsy goth style. Things might escalate, things might get a bit deeper, darker, but it's not taking my attention enough at the minute. So I think I'll continue on audio and then pick up the physical maybe as I get nearer the end, because I do like doing the end of a book physically, even if I've done the rest of the book with my earballs. So I'm going to go get set up, get comfy, probably chuck on a YouTube playlist of some sort, and then I'm going to carry on with the next book, which is going to be K.M. Morinova's A God of Wrath and Ruin. Okay, so we've got the setup. I am under my electric blanket because it's so cold. I am about to set the timer, start the stop clock going again. I have got, hold on, I've not thought this through. Hi, I have got my annotating supplies. So we all have our own colours within the group. Mine, I feel like, obviously, is purple. And I've got the book. A God of Wrath and Lies. I am crashing out and I hate this book. Oh, that's my light gone. I'm 30 pages in. This girl is just accepting everything that is happening. So there's one bed situation. She's woke up in the morning. His hand is like lightly touching her hip, and she's all, I have to get out of this situation because I know I'll catch feelings. She's met him like 6 hours earlier. They've gone for breakfast, which she's very excited about this date with this random man. And she's like, oh my god, do we get to explore the town? This town that you've basically been kidnapped to. Okay. And then he's gone to have a cigarette and she's gone, why'd you have my lighter? And he's like, oh, I may have been to your shed a few times whilst you were out. She says, fuck you, you're lucky I like you, whilst nudging his shoulder. I'm supposed to be annotating this book and I don't feel like I can because I can't just, every opinion I have on it at the minute is this girl's an idiot. Like, what is going on? I don't like the writing style, but I will give it till like 100 pages in to make a firm decision on that. But this FMC is painfully stupid. Okay, so I'm one chapter in. The FMC in this book is an idiot. Like an actual raging idiot. So we follow this 20-year-old called Elodie, and she blindly follows a man and his dog through a portal and ends up in a world called Tomorrow, which apparently lives alongside the normal realm. And this man puts a collar on her and she goes, all right. And he goes, this pathway only works for 1 minute every day. And she goes, okay. And he goes, come straight to my house. She goes, okay. Oh, I've only got one bed. Okay. If it was like a Kimberly Lemming book where everything's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, I don't think that's the vibe that this book's going for. I don't think it is tongue-in-cheek. I think it's not necessarily serious, but I don't think it's poking fun at sort of fantasy, romantasy. And one chapter, this is going to be a long day. And she sort of says at the start, she's lost her dog and her aunt quite recently, who she was very close to. And the grief of it all has pushed her to make some stupid choices. Completely get the stupid choices, completely get choosing the wrong people. But someone puts a collar on you, you don't just go, okay. She's an idiot. And I fear that she isn't going to get any smarter as this book goes on. But we're going to find out. I am 100 pages in. It's not getting any better. It's getting worse. There's so much insta love in this book, which is awful. There's so much like forced tension. So rather than building suspense, it's the room felt very suspenseful, and it's like, no, just let me feel it a little bit. Like I feel nothing. FMC is infuriated. She is just the worst. She's got prime pick-me energy. I need someone who has read this and like the dark romance stuff that Kaya Morinova has done to tell me if this is a different writing style than her other books. This is painful reading. Anyway, I am going to make myself some food because it's like 6 o'clock and then settle back in. I've also realised the girl who chose this for our travelling book club this month, or this cycle, has rated it 4 stars. At the minute, this is a very firm 1 star to me. Which a 1 star would be, I should have DNF'd it. I can't even be like, oh, I don't really like the plot, but the vibes are good. There's no vibes. This girl just keeps meeting random men and being like, oh, this one's my hero. This one's gonna save me. And then they don't. And she's like, oh, I can't believe they betrayed me. Girl, you've known them like 6 hours. So
on this one, okay? We got 2 5 stars back to back, and we read a really good romance. And my goal for 2026 is to be harsher on my rating. So me saying this is a 3.5, I have a scale written down. That's like, I know what my scale is. I'm changing how we're rating things. This would be like a 4.25 last year. When I was being a little bit more.
okay, so quick check-in. We are 3 hours 48 in total, just under 3 hours in this book in general, and I have got about 100 pages left. I'm on page 240. There's 341, so yeah. I have been annotating my little heart out. I don't know if you can, how well it's getting caught up. So all the purple is me. I mean, I'm still not enjoying it anymore. It's got slightly more entertaining purely because I found out that Jazz had drunk a bottle of wine when she read it. So her notes are getting a lot funnier. I am still reading this under duress. It's not for me. The plot isn't for me. The story isn't for me. The writing isn't for me. I can kind of see how someone might enjoy it, but I just feel like there is a lot of words being said and not a lot happening. It feels like one of those books where someone is going to read it and go, oh, I feel every line. Oh, this touched me so deeply. But they're words without substance. So there is a lot about grief in here, but it feels almost like how you feel like grief should be. Like, I'm not feeling the emotion from this character. Feels like the author went through the motions as she was writing this. So she's gone, oh, well, if you're going through grief, you're going to feel this, and you might feel this, and you might feel this. And she's written that exact thing down. There's no build up. I'm not in this with the characters. I'm not struggling with them. I am not rooting for them. I could not care less what happens to a single one of these characters. And I think that is a poor state of a book if that's the case. Like, for there not to be a single character that I'm kind of interested in, it's not good. But we're gonna finish these 100 pages and then we'll see if a miracle has happened. Okay, so we finished Wrath of God and Lies at 4 hours 37, which 3 hours 37 on a 341 page book. Seems about right. I have rated this 1 star. Woo! If it wasn't for the fact that it was a book club read, I would have DNF'd that book so quickly. It gave nothing. By the time it got to the end and it started doing reveals, I was just like, I don't care. A better version of this book is Heavenly Bodies by Imani Aru. Heavenly Bodies is a perfect romantasy. It's superb. That is what this book wanted to be. It is. So yeah, we're 4 hours in, like 10:05. This is like the worst vlog for you lot. But I may as well just get these unwanted books out the way, otherwise I'm just going to be peeking and troughing. May as well send myself down to the bottom and then treat myself with the good stuff tomorrow. With the Veiled Kingdom, we start off and we follow this exiled princess who has run away from her evil father. She's pretending to be part of a rebellion so that she can further escape. However, she is then captured by said rebellion, who realise that she isn't really part of them. There has been a couple of characters introduced. So we've got Naira, who's the princess, and Daka, who's the MMC, and the story is told from both of their POVs. So I do like a dual POV. It's got that going for it. I'm 4 chapters in. It's 49 pages. We're still getting to grips with everything. Unfortunately, what I realised about it, this and to be honest, I've got to wrap in life, the writing styles are quite similar in that a lot is being said and not a lot is happening. And I get what the authors are trying to do when they're using so many words. It's not translating for me. But I digress. Again, I have to read it. So I am going to go back to the audio because I need to clean up the kitchen, do a few bits and pieces. And then once I've tidied up, I'll decide whether I'm either going to settle in back downstairs, carry on listening to YouTube whilst I read, or if we're going to go to bed and I'll read there. Yeah, we're going to set the timer. Well, I'm going to get it set up on it's Audible. I've got this one on, and then yeah, get cracking. Okay, so I am in bed. It is about 12:30, I think, and I have got to 58% of the Veiled Kingdom. We're at 6 hours 26. So say there's an hour and 5 minutes left in the book, and the temptation is real to just whack it out, but I also know I'll really regret that tomorrow. So I am gonna sign off for the night. What I will say is, because it got to midnight and I was still up, I then looked at the Kindle deals, and the one remaining book on my TBR for the month, which was The Names by Florence Knapp, has got on 99p deal today. So I've bought that. So I may read that tomorrow as well, because that's completely out of my comfort zone and just mix it up a little bit. But I'll say night night, and I'll check back in tomorrow. Good morning, or rather good afternoon, because I think it's about 12:30. I come to you from the land of the dead. I think I got overeager yesterday, and I woke up this morning and felt horrific again. So you are going to have to bed rot with me for the day. Updates. I couldn't sleep last night, so I finished the Veiled Kingdom. Is that what it's called? I've completely forgotten. Rated that 1 star. Woo! Because it was just the most cut and paste romantasy. The MMC gave me the ick because he was just a walking cliche of who did this to you? Good girl. Like, he was giving me nothing. The FMC went from being like a repeatedly mentioned pure and innocent virgin to like crawling across the floor for the MMC. Nothing in it was a plot reveal or a shocker. It was formulaic, is that the word? It was like a formula, right? It was, painful. So gave that 1 star. Then I woke up this morning and carried on a little bit more with the audio of A Rather Vengeful Accord. That isn't getting a 1 star. That, my dislike of that one is absolutely on me, so that will be getting like a 2, unless something miraculous happens. It feels like a Harry Potter fanfic. And I don't mind a fanfic. I'm on the Hermione train. Genuinely don't mind it. But it's not a fanfic I would read. That's the issue I've got. I don't think it's anything to do with the Harry Potter fanfic. I think the author's just of my generation. So it's quite easy to see the influences. Whimsy goth just isn't my jam. It's really not the type of thing I like reading. I don't really enjoy it. But yeah, so I think I've got to about 40% through on that. And then, right, so where are we at? So we are now 9 hours and 4 minutes in. And I have started The Names by Florence Knapp. Right, and I wasn't going to record because I thought I look like death, I feel like death. I'm just going to update when I come out of this. But this book is so good. It's incredible. Like, I'm so happy I've picked it up. It's absolutely undoing the damage of the last few. But I am 28% of the way in, and it's stunning. The writing is incredible. The way it is portraying the themes that are going on is just so good. The emotions that it's conveying, like, I've cried already reading it. It is just such a beautiful description of like nature over nurture. But yeah, so that's where I'm at the minute, and I'll be back shortly. So we're on about 11 hours and 7 minutes. I'm at 90% of The Names. Oh my god. I knew this book was going to be good. This book has like spoken to me since I first heard about it. This book is stunning. Like, as someone that never really reads anything like this, it's absolutely breaking me. I have cried so much during this book. Oh my gosh, it's stunning. I'm going to be devastated when this book ends. I'm terrified to pick up anything else. So I did it. I finished The Names. And I think it might be the first book where I can use the phrase, did I finish that book or did that book finish me? I was an emotional wreck reading that. It is one of the most stunning things I have ever read, I think. The way it brought sort of nature over nurture into consideration, the way that the tiniest thing you do can end up having this massive effect on your life and the life of other people around you. For a book that was just over 300 pages, I think it's like 330, I cannot believe how invested I was in it and how connected I felt to the characters. It was the easiest 5 stars I've ever given. It was stunning. Perfection. Just, I kind of don't know what to do with myself now. So, we are 11 hours and 21 minutes into whatever this is. I am trying to bring myself back to life somehow, as you can see. Open my blinds. I still look like death warmed up, so I apologise for that. I am going, I think, to do some editing whilst going back to the audio of A Rather Vengeful Accord. Because, like I said, it isn't that I'm not loving that book, it's just definitely not for me, but I also don't want to DNF it. And I think it would be quite good to use this vlog to literally tick off my TBR, because now A Rather Vengeful Accord is the only book that's still on my list for the month. And it would mean that then for the next week, I can kind of read whatever I want. So that's quite fun. Before before I started reading the names. Let's see how far into it I got. I'm at 41%. I had about 5 hours left of it. So again, I don't expect me to finish it on audio today. I can get myself a chunk through. It might get to a point where actually I can read the last sort of 100 or 200 pages physically, and we can do it that way. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hello, so it's Sunday. I did finish off A Rather Vengeful Accord. I gave it 2.5 stars. It's perfectly fine. It wasn't for me. It was too low risk. It was too cozy. It's that fantasy style that always reminds me of like Pride and Prejudice type writing, where it's quite proper and it's, oh well, this is what we do now, and that kind of style. And it's not for me, but I do know that it is for some people. So ultimately I gave that 2.5 stars, and that was the end of my TBR for February, which means I get to mood read for the next week, which I'm very excited for. So I'm gonna call this a day now. We ended up on, hear my son in the background, 15 hours and 6 minutes and 21 seconds, and we achieved 4 books. So we completed A God of Wrath and Lies by K.M. Morinova, A Veiled Kingdom by Holly Renee, A Rather Vengeful Accord by Danielle Knight, and The Names by Florence Knapp. And we had 2 1-stars, 2.5 star, and a 5-star read, which I'm very, very excited about. The other stats are, it was 1,458 pages, which then averages out at about 97 pages an hour, which tracks with what I consider my average to be. But this was so much fun. Like, I love watching 24-hour readathons when people do them, like Emmys every month, and I love them. But the logistics of it have sort of terrified me out of doing it. Whereas this way round has been a breeze, essentially. Like, it's been quite encouraging and motivating to think I am just reading and timing it, rather than thinking I've got this long left, I've got to find the 24 hours somewhere. If you've watched this, I hope you've enjoyed it, because I really enjoyed doing it and I would very much like to do one again. But yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.